Then one night, the truth came out. The man who had followed Clara into the forest, Thomas, a quiet hunter from the village, could no longer keep what he saw to himself. He gathered the villagers in the old church. His voice shook as he told them everything, how he had followed Clara deep into the oldest part of the forest, how he had seen her kneeling beside the ancient tree, how the roots moved, how the earth itself obeyed her, and worst of all, how Clara whispered into the soil like she was speaking to something alive beneath the ground. At first, no one believed him, until Thomas showed them the video on his phone. The screen glowed in the dark church, and everyone saw it. Clara in the clearing, the lantern, the roots wrapping around her arms like living snakes, the ground breathing. A low murmur spread through the villagers. Fear, real fear. They had been living beside a monster. The next night, a group of men from the village marched toward Clara's house. They carried rifles, torches, axes. The fog rolled through the trees as they approached the old house. The porch creaked in the wind. Clara was waiting for them. She stood quietly beside the fence, holding a lantern. Her expression looked almost disappointed. "You shouldn't have followed me," she said softly. David stepped forward. "You killed them." Clara tilted her head slightly. "They were weeds," she replied calmly. The villagers felt a chill crawl up their spines. "We're your neighbors," one man shouted. Clara's eyes slowly moved across the group. Her calm smile faded. "You don't have the old blood," she whispered. The lantern light flickered, and suddenly, the ground moved. Roots exploded from the soil. Thick black vines burst through the dirt and wrapped around the men's legs. Screams shattered the quiet mountain air. One man was dragged beneath the ground instantly. Another fired his rifle wildly as roots snapped around his arms. The earth cracked open like a hungry mouth. Clara stood perfectly still, watching, calm, patient, like a gardener pruning a dying tree. But something was different. The roots were growing faster now, thicker, darker. They weren't just obeying Clara anymore. They were feeding, and Clara could feel it. The ancient spirit beneath the forest was awakening, hungry. Power surged through her veins like fire. Her eyes glowed faintly in the darkness. The ground trembled violently. Trees groaned as their roots twisted through the soil. The forest was becoming something else, something ancient, something monstrous. And Clara was becoming part of it. But the villagers refused to run. David shouted to the others, "The tree!" He remembered what he saw in the clearing, the massive ancient tree where Clara knelt, the heart of the forest, the source. "If we burn the tree, we stop her." The survivors ran toward the clearing. Clara followed slowly behind them. Her movements were no longer fully human. Roots slithered across the ground around her feet like obedient servants. The clearing appeared through the fog. The ancient tree towered over them like a giant. Its bark twisted like screaming faces. The villagers threw their torches. Flames erupted along the dry roots. Fire climbed the massive trunk. The forest screamed. A deep, unnatural roar echoed through the mountains. And Clara collapsed to her knees. For the first time, she screamed. Not in anger, but in pain. The roots around the clearing writhed violently. The ground cracked open. The ancient spirit beneath the forest was dying, and it was taking Clara with it. Her body twisted as black veins spread across her skin like living roots. She looked up at the burning tree. Her calm smile returned, weak, fading. "I was only gardening," she whispered. The flames roared higher. The ancient tree split down the center with a thunderous crack, and Clara's body crumbled into the soil as the roots dragged her down into the burning earth. Gone. By morning, the forest was silent again. The ancient tree had collapsed into black ash. The roots were dead. The disappearances stopped. But the villagers never forgot. Even now, people who walk through that forest say they sometimes feel the ground move beneath their feet, like something deep underground is still breathing, waiting for someone with the old blood to come home.